What's going on, guys? This is Jamie from Heroic Barbell, and welcome to another episode of Evolve AI Competition Prep. We're on week 700, day 33. Before we get into it, once again, Beef Boys, thank you for that vibin', jammin' track. I always appreciate it. Boys and girls, if you check out the description box below, you can find the link to Beef Boys SoundCloud. Those guys are rocking and jamming, experimenting and trying out all new different types of musical styles and what have you. Now, before we get into this video, I thought it would be interesting if I talked about some of my fitness influencers, if you will, people who I think helped pave the way for powerlifting today. When I was younger, maybe about 10, 11 years ago, I had just gotten back from a different country to study, where I had gotten into bodybuilding. I lost a lot of weight and didn't realize that if you really wanted to look like a bodybuilder, you had to do steroids. After I studied and I got my super master degrees from whatever university, I went back home for a little vacation. And during that vacation, one of my closest friends at the time, Matthew, he told me about powerlifting. That's where the obsession began, boys and girls, at Retro Fitness, somewhere in New York. I don't remember which one it is. But I squatted for the first time, didn't hit depth, probably looked like a fuckboy, but don't we all when we first start training in any type of endeavor? So I got into powerlifting around 2011 to 2012, but around that time is when I started watching more YouTubes. I think that's also around the time YouTube started exploding. I was watching a lot of guys like Physiques of Greatness with Christopher Jones. Wonderful channel. He still does videos, and they're still so funny and so entertaining. I highly recommend you check them out if you're into building muscles. I was also into Big J's Extreme, which always looks like it says Big J's Sex Stream. I always wish he would have changed it a little bit, just because every time I saw it, it looked like one of those backyard porno companies. Another one that I also really liked, probably my favorite, anything by Mark Bell. He was the guy who I thought made powerlifting cool. Didn't take it so seriously. And in a way, when you look up to all the greats, he really humanized it for me. You know, his podcast was one of the best I've ever heard. He doesn't make the same content as he used to, but back in the day, watching Mark Bell for me was like going to church, if you will. I'd always wait for his podcast where he'd have on the greats. From there, I learned about Chad Wesley Smith and the Juggernaut Method. From there, you learn about Garen Blevins, the Dan Greens. Those brothers, I can't think of their names right now, but they're all bald and very big. The Lily Bridges, Pete Rubish. You guys have to be a student. I always say this. You have to be a student of the game. And I think that if you're really into powerlifting, you should know where it comes from. Now, my issue these days is that I don't give a fuck about anyone anymore. So when you ask me about who the top lifters are, the only ones I know are like Keenan and Ashton and Bob. That's about it. I don't really pay attention too much of the newer stuff now. But I'm old. And when you're old, you only like old things. You don't like new things. That's just, you're young now, and so you're going to say, no, that's not true. You should always be blah, blah, blah. Listen, you young girls are going to be listening to whatever you're listening to now. Espressos and feathers, what have you. You know, that's what you're going to be into 40 years from now. Oh, I love this song, when kids are going to be listening to blah, 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 blah. That's the music kids are going to be listening to, and then you're going to be like, oh, I can't listen to this. No. Jonas Brothers were the best, right? That's what you're going to be saying. So just know that everyone gets older. And once you get to a certain point, you stop wanting to learn new stuff. That's why whenever there's a grandma on TV, she's like, oh, I learned a new language. It's like, that's crazy. It's like, wow, this 80-year-old grandma went to school and got a master's degree and whatever, you know? Because normally, when you get old, like, you don't want to listen to anything new. My dad was like, Jamie, make me a CD with Elvis on it, you know? He doesn't want to listen to who's hip these days. And Enrique Iglesias. He doesn't want to listen to Matchbox 20. He wants Elvis, you know? All right, so let's get into the training. Here we go. You guys know the drill. 1 red, 2 reds, 3 reds. That's a lie. 1 red, 2 red, 2 reds and a green, 2 reds and a blue. But you can see here I threw in a little black one because I wanted my last warm-up to be around 205 before I took on the 220 for a set of 3. See how they all moved pretty well. I drank so much water and I bloated so hard for this day because 220 for me would have been a humongous PR in my book. Even for a double, I've never done it. So I get under the bar. And the unrack felt so good. There's some times in lifting, I don't know if you guys know this feeling, where the unrack and the walkout feels like air. If you understand that, the feeling you get that you know you're going to smash this weight is just such a wonderful feeling. The second one, I think that moved really well for a second rep. The problem is that on this third one, you can see my hip kind of pop out. I felt a pop right next to my balls, not in my balls, the leg part next to my balls. And I knew that I was in a little bit of trouble. So I bailed on the bar. Thank you to Minjae, to Doug. And who was that? Cactus? Was Cactus on the other side? Oh, was it Cactus? Let me just see real quick. I don't want to leave anyone out. And Arno. My life was in your hands. And you 3 big, beefy boys really saved my life on that one. Now, yes, I am hurt. It's true. This old leg here got a big old strain on it. And you're going to say, Jamie, what are you going to do? I thought about it. Just drop out. It's not worth it. But I ain't no bitch. As soon as I tore it the next day, I went to the doctor because CK told me to. He ultrasounded it with a gel, like I was, my leg was pregnant. He ultrasounded it, put some electric vibrations, some lasers on it, some ice packs, some cool mist. Guys, I might be hurt, but I'm not gonna drop out. Starting now is where we fix this bum leg, get to that platform, squat what I can squat. That's what I'm gonna say now. I don't care if I can only squat 2 watts. Is that legal? I don't know. Whatever the minimum is, I'm gonna squat it. I can still bench. I think I can still deadlift. And I'm gonna do my best. Because when you sign up to do something, when you say you're gonna do something, you make that pinky promise, you sign your name on the dotted line. As a man, that means you've gotta do it. Unless it's drum practice, then you can back out. But do it. You made a promise to yourself, you made a promise to your buddies. And as a man, that's the most valuable thing you have is your word. And I'm going to stick by it. So starting today is the day where we rebuild this and we do our best to get on that platform, whatever percent's ready I can be. That's it for this episode, boys and girls. The journey back to the road, to the competition on the train to Busan starts now. Bye-bye. See you next time.